So Cartoon Network's doing this thing where they made this March Madness type bracket. I saw someone post it on Twitter. I'll link it in the description. But they're doing a whole voting thing, I think on like Instagram or something. I just decided it'd be a little cool to explore what my bracket would look like. I'm gonna be honest, some of these shows I've either never seen or never heard of, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch them just for the sake of the bracket. If I haven't seen them or haven't heard of them, I'm gonna have a bias against them. That's just unfortunate. I'm sorry. So if your favorite show ends up going out early because I just never seen it, make your own bracket. Again, I told you it's linked in the description. And if there's a show that I say I haven't seen and is like the greatest show of all time, then let me know, because I take recommendations. So they split it up into 4 like portions. You have the adventure portion, the superheroes, the comedy, and then the slice of life. They got some heavy hitters on this bracket, I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna go through it, and we're gonna determine what I think is the best Cartoon Network show. All right, we're going to start in the top left. We have Adventure Time versus The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. Adventure Time, it's a classic. People know it. People love it. One of the most popular shows on Cartoon Network. It means a lot to me. I grew up with it. Flapjack, however, underrated. It's super funny. If you've never seen Flapjack, I recommend just like finding episodes and watching them, because it was underrated. It was canceled too early. It was way ahead of its time. The comedy on that show, I remember growing up watching it with my friend, and we would die laughing at a lot of the stuff. Unfortunately, it's put up against the juggernaut that is Adventure Time, and Adventure Time it's very close to my heart. But, Flapjack isn't losing because it's a bad show. It's losing because Adventure Time is a great show. So I'm going with Adventure Time on this one. Billy and Mandy versus Codename Kid Next Door. I'm going to be honest. I was never a big Kids Next Door guy. Every time that came on, I'm not going to lie, I would change the channel. I know people speak highly of it nowadays, say it's one of the Cartoon Network's best shows. I don't think I ever really gave it a fair try. And I would like to. Honestly, I think if it's on HBO Max, I might actually have to watch some of it, see if it is as good as people say. I mean, Billy and Mandy, though. That's Billy and Mandy. 3 iconic characters. The aesthetic of the show is... the show is good. And I've watched it recently, and it holds up. I laugh at the show. I think Billy and Mandy kind of walks here. Shout out Kids Next Door. I know people like it, but it's, it was never really for me. Yeah, so we're gonna move Billy and Mandy on to the second round. ScoobyDoo versus Infinity Train. This is a little bit of a wacky matchup. Scooby-Doo, an all-time classic. There's a bunch of shows Scooby-Doo has made. I grew up watching the shows, the movies, blah, blah, blah. Infinity Train, I gotta give it its flowers. I watched it. I think I haven't watched the most recent season. I don't know if it's over either. It might still be on. I don't know if they ended it, but I watched like the first 3 seasons. It's a pretty good show. It doesn't hold a candle to Scooby-Doo. I mean, it's Scooby-Doo. Everyone knows Scooby-Doo. I think most people, if you asked, would you rather watch Scooby-Doo or Infinity Train, people would be like, what the hell is Infinity Train? But if you've never heard of it or never seen it, I'd recommend at least watching the first season. I think the first season is really good. It's like a mystery kind of deal. But it's literally Scooby-Doo. Like, there's not much else to say here, but it is literally Scooby-Doo. It's not Velma. Let's be specific. It's not Velma. It's Scooby-Doo. Next up, we have an interesting one. It's Steven Universe versus Over the Garden Wall. I'm gonna be honest, haven't watched either. But I am a full-time Steven Universe hater. Everything I see on that show, I just do not like. Over the Garden Wall, I have heard very good things. Again, I haven't watched either, so it's hard for me to really, truly rank them. But based on just what I've seen and what I've heard, Steven Universe is just a walking L IMO. So I'm gonna move Mr. Gnome guy here. I don't even know his name, but he is... I love seeing Steven Universe get out in the first round. Again, I'm a full-time hater, and people might not like that, but I'm a hater for real. I wake up real early to hate on Steven Universe. All right, we're going to move down to the superheroes portion. I'm going to keep it real. I haven't seen a lot of these. Animated superhero shows just aren't my thing. I'm more of the movies, even though the movies kind of been pretty mid recently. Teen Titans versus Young Justice. You might be thinking, oh, of course it's Teen Titans. And I'm gonna say this: Teen Titans does win in this matchup, but I was never into Teen Titans. I just never. Every time Teen Titans came on, it got a banger theme song. I listened to the theme song and then I changed the channel. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I never gave it a fair shot growing up, and I haven't gone out and watched it. Young Justice. I'm gonna just say it how it is. As uninterested as I was growing up watching Teen Titans, I was probably even like double uninterested watching Young Justice. Listen, I know Young Justice might be a good show for some, but I think Teen Titans kind of has to win here, because if they don't, I might be, I might have angry mobs coming after me. But again, it doesn't really matter to me because neither of these shows are really gonna win. Let's keep it real. Next up, OKKO versus, I honestly have no idea what this says. I have at least heard of OKKO. Again, I don't know what this is. OKKO just has to win here, just based off default value that I've heard of the show. I don't know what it is. I just heard of it. So sorry to the fans of this one. I'm assuming it says Mau Mau. Again, I'm sorry if I get that wrong, but I've at least heard of OKKO, even though I know zero things about it. I've heard of it. The other one I just don't know. So there's that freaking matchup. Justice League versus Generator Rex. I remember seeing trailers for Generator Rex growing up. Another show I haven't seen. I don't think I've watched that much of the Justice League either, but Generator Rex always kind of looked garbage to me. It's kind of surprising that it's on this bracket. I guess they don't really have that much superhero shows. They just need to put Generator Rex. I don't even think it was for that long. And Justice League, I think people see as a classic because it's the Justice League, and people are like, oh, you gotta make a Justice League movie. You ever watch the show as a kid? And they made the movie, and the movie was fucking awful, but, So I think Justice League kind of walks here. Again, same as the other couple superhero matchups, because the other show is not as good. I don't know. Powerpuff Girls versus Ben 10. This is actually probably the hardest one in the superhero portion, because these are the two actual shows that I've watched some of. I'm going to be talking about the original versions of these shows. I know Ben 10 has like a million different versions and variations, and then Powerpuff Girls has like the new one, which I don't think people are very into. I've never seen it, so I can't even speak on it. And I've only really watched the original Ben 10. I never followed the other variations. Do they still make variations of Ben 10? Is it still around? I just remember there being like a million different reboots, and that was just kind of the shtick of the show, is that it would end and a new one would begin with a similar story and characters. I think it's Powerpuff Girls, to be honest, because if you were to ask me, would you rather watch an episode of Powerpuff Girls or Ben 10? This might sound weird coming out of a 23-year-old man, but I think I'd much rather watch Powerpuff Girls, because Mojo Jojo is like the GOAT. So I'm gonna move Powerpuff Girls over. Sorry for all you Ben 10ers out there. Okay, upper right, we got comedy, the funny ones, because none of these other shows have been funny until now. Ed, Edd n Eddy versus Foster's. I think this might actually be the hardest matchup so far for me. Ed, Edd n Eddy, that's a juggernaut. That is a classic show. Foster's is also, I love Foster's. That is a great show too. They really had to pit these two against each other. Some of these other shows walked over the shows they were up against, but these two they're gonna fight, I think. I think I know what I'm going for though. Just based off, again, I gotta ask the question, what would I rather watch an episode of? I think I'd rather watch an episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy. Plus I just think Ed, Edd n Eddy's more of a cultural, impactful show. People quote it, people love the characters. Foster's, I think it's underrated. It's really good. It's definitely like a top 10 Cartoon Network show for me. Might be closer to top 5. Maybe not. It's really good. It's got great characters as well. If it was up against like a lot of these other shows so far, Foster's would trample. But unfortunately, it's up against Ed, Edd n Eddy, and I think Ed, Edd n Eddy has to kind of move on here, because it's Ed, Edd n Eddy. Like, is Ed, Edd n Eddy really going to get out on the first round? Let's be real. So Ed, Edd n Eddy moves on. Gumball versus regular show. I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty easy for me. This might be the hardest for some. This is pretty easy for me. Gumball, I think it's funny. I've watched episodes of it. It's good. It's not a bad show. It's one of Cartoon Network's last good shows, IMO. Regular show, that show hit when I watched it. I didn't watch it growing up, to be fair. I never gave Regular Show a fair chance growing up. Kind of like, Kids Next Door. But I actually went out of my way to binge watch the show after it was released. I think it was like a few years ago I binge watched it. That show is part of my life now. That show is ingrained in my head. It is just too good, too iconic, too funny. The dynamic between Mordecai and Rigby is just Rigby is just unmatched. It's banger after banger. It's up there. It is up there as one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows. It's just good. It's just good. So, I mean, for some, it's not as easy, but for me, Regular Show kind of just walks over on Gumball. Again, shout out to Gumball. I don't think it's a bad show. I just don't think it's up to snuff with Regular Show. Cow and Chicken versus Total Drama Island. I was never big on Cow and Chicken. I don't think I really ever stuck around when it came on as a kid. I think it's also before my time a little bit. Just a little before my time. Total Drama, oh my god, no. Total Drama Island is, it came out around the time I was growing up, so it came out perfectly for me. It's a cool concept. I don't think the concept didn't really, didn't last too long. It was only really good for a few seasons, and then it started to peter off when they started introducing a bunch of new characters and blah, blah, blah. But it's a good concept. It's funny sometimes. I just don't know much about Cow and Chicken, so I think Total Drama Island. Jeez, I don't know why I got Rama in my fucking head. So I think Total Drama Island just kind of beats out Cow and Chicken here. Courage versus Dexter's Laboratory. Both are good. Both are classics. For some, these are two top tier shows. For me, they're not as top tier. If I had to pick one, I think I'm picking Courage. Dexter's Lab is good, but I think Courage is aesthetically and it's just a more interesting show. Better settings, better stories. I think the characters' dynamics are better. Obviously you got Dexter and Dee Dee and Mandrake and all them. I don't know. I just think Courage is just a more interesting show, more interesting concept, and I think it's better executed show, I guess. So I think Courage is a clear round winner here. Sorry, Dex, but you're no dog. There's no dog in you, but Courage, he got the dog in him. And last portion, we got Slice of Life, whatever that means. Chowder vs. Camp Lazlo. Chowder, it's similar to Flapjack, underrated, ended too early, pretty funny, has very funny moments. Lazlo, I watched it as a kid. I haven't seen too much of it nowadays. I don't know if it holds up, but I remember liking it as a kid and thinking it also was gone too soon. If I had to pick, I think I'm picking Chowder out of these two. I do have to pick. It's the bracket. I just think Chowder is funnier from memory. Again, I haven't seen Lazlo in a minute. Yeah, I think Chowder, plus the art style of Chowder is just kind of brings it up to another level. Lazlo is kind of, I don't want to call Lazlo basic, but Chowder additionally has more interesting visuals carrying the show, and it's also funny. It's pretty funny. I remember it being funny. So Chowder beats Lazlo. Craig of the Creek versus Clarence. Two shows past my time. Haven't seen either. I think I'm going to base this off of which one I would be more interested in watching. I don't know. I haven't seen an episode out of these. If you asked me which one would you rather watch, just based off their faces, I'd say Clarence, because Clarence looks a little more goofy. Craig of the Creek just kind of looks basic. And these are shows past my time. If either of them are good, let me know. I'm sure there's fans for both, but I'm not very emotionally attached to either of them. But I'm gonna say Clarence moves on, and that might be the wrong choice for some. But this is my bracket, and I haven't seen either, so it's really it's up to me. I Am Weasel versus, oh my god, they got My Gym Partner's a monkey on this show, on this bracket. That's crazy. I would not expect them to put My Gym Partner. They don't have Johnny Bravo, but they have My Gym Partner's a monkey. Slice of Life, by the way. Why isn't Johnny Bravo on here? Why isn't, like, I don't know, Teen Titans Go, I feel like, would be on here, but they have regular Teen Titans. I guess they know who would be looking at this bracket, and they would not be picking Teen Titans Go. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know what the heck I Am Weasel is. I think it has something to do with Cow and Chicken, like same animator, same writer, same creator, maybe. I don't know, same animation style, looks like. I don't know jack about I Am Weasel. My Gym Partner's a Monkey is a show that I actually watched growing up. I remember playing the browser game on CartoonNetwork.com where actually I don't know what the game was, but I just remember playing it a lot. And I'd watched it more, so therefore my Gym Partner Monkey moves on. It beats the Weasel. Two very slice of life shows, it seems like. What the hell do they mean by slice of life? I guess you're just getting an insight in these people's lives, but I feel like you could say that about all these shows. So they really couldn't think of a fourth thing. Here we go. The matchup everyone's been waiting for. Summer Camp Island versus We Bare Bears. I've seen one episode of We Bare Bears, and it honestly was really good. It was like that one episode where the I forgot which bear, but the bear couldn't let go of the burrito, and everyone and the other bears are like, "Hey, let go of that burrito. It's getting old and disgusting, and either eat it or throw it away." But he couldn't stop holding on to the burrito, and it was revealed in the end he only did it because as a bear cub, he was stuck in a tree that was on fire, and a firefighter, he like attached to the firefighter's arm, right? And so like he sees the arm. It was a very emotional episode, and I think if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Summer Camp Island. I think this show, I genuinely have zero idea what it is. I've never heard of it, never seen it. Similar to the Mau Mau one, I just don't know what this is, and I'm just assuming We Bare Bears is a better show because if they had one good, I've seen one episode and it was good. I don't know if the whole show is like that, but We Bare Bear beats whatever this is. I don't know what it is. Let me know if Summer Camp Island's good at all. I'm assuming it's a newer show. It looks like it's got that newer kind of art style that people use nowadays. All right, we got the elite. What is this? The final six. What do they call it? 16? The Sweet 16? I don't know. Back up in the adventure spots, we got Adventure Time versus Billy and Mandy. These are two shows, both in my top 5. It sucks that they go up against each other. These matchups are a little skewed, I feel like, because there's some shows that I feel like should be in second round that aren't, and there's shows that are in second round that I don't think should be, based off just my opinion. This is really tough because Billy and Mandy, growing up, I watched a lot of it. I loved it. The characters are funny. The show is just interesting. Adventure Time, I think, just is overall a better show, though. It's got a better story. I think the location, the settings are more interesting. The dynamic between Finn and Jake is good. I mean, the dynamic between all the characters that interact in Adventure Time is really good. Billy and Mandy, it has great characters too. They're both really good shows, and it sucks that one has to go out now. But I just think Adventure Time is just the better executed show overall. So I think Adventure Time moves on to, I guess I move them here. Scooby-Doo versus Over the Garden Wall. It's Scooby-Doo. Like, I haven't seen Over the Garden Wall, and it's also Scooby-Doo. We're gonna move him on. Again, Over the Garden Wall might be like a masterpiece, and I've heard good things about it. Just never checked it out. I think it's also only 10 episodes. Like, they only did one season of it. Teen Titans versus OKKO. I've seen Teen Titans. I have not seen OKKO. Pretty easy matchup. Again, like these are two shows that I wouldn't have in the second round. Like, I would see this a little differently. It just sucks that like they put all the superheroes in one portion. And I haven't seen a bunch of them, so that they have to move on. It is what it is. It's how they did the bracket. I can't complain. Justice League versus Powerpuff Girls. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I said this, but I actually never watched Justice League. Like, I knew it exists. I don't think I ever sat down and watched a full episode. And Powerpuff Girls it's a good show. It's a good show. So the good show moves on. Boom. Ed, and Eddie versus regular show. It goes to like easy competitions and it goes to the friggin' probably the hardest competition so far. And this might be the part where people start to hate me, actually. Ed and Eddie is so good. It's so good. I was double D for Halloween like last year or 2 years ago. Me and my friends were like the Ed boys. It's Ed and Eddie's. It's iconic. It's great. It's well written. It's got interesting characters. They get to go through a bunch of shenanigans. It's quotable. But I think regular show is just another level of good. And these are 2 top 3 Cartoon Network shows for me. But like I think I'd rather watch regular show than Ed, and Eddie. At least in my who I am now, I think regular show beats Ed, and Eddie. It sucks that these 2 are up against each other in like round 2 because this is genuinely a final. This could be a final matchup if given the right course. This could be a final matchup. But for me, I have to go regular show. I just think it just hits me in places that people shouldn't be hidden, if you know what I mean. And I'm sorry to all you Ed, and Eddie fans out there. I'm an Ed, Eddie fan myself. I'm kind of pissed that it has to leave too. I know it's up to me, but I think regular show it's a little bit better. Total Drama versus Courage. Going to a little bit of an easier one here. I think Courage is just a bit. Total Drama, like I barely see as a Cartoon Network show. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't really put it with these things that much. I just think Courage is, again, it's just much. If I had to break it down, Courage is an interesting concept that is executed very well. Total Drama is an interesting concept that is executed well for like the first couple seasons, and then it kind of peters out. Courage, as far as I know, it's consistent with how good it is. And Total Drama has a lot of bad characters. With Courage, you can't really say that because most of the time, Courage hits it on the head. So I think Courage has to walk here. Chowder versus Clarence. I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm going to go with Chowder here. I haven't seen Clarence, and I have watched Chowder fairly recently, actually. And it's good. It's good. It's good. I damn to see Clarence in the final 8. I'm sorry. My Gym Partner's a Monkey versus We Bare Bears. I'm going to go with My Gym Partner's Monkey here, just based purely off nostalgia. And again, I've only seen one episode of We Bare Bears, and mind you, it was a good episode. It was an episode that was like, hey, maybe this show is worth a watch, and maybe I'll watch it one day. But I mean, My Gym Partner, honestly, I don't even think My Gym Partner and Monkey is that good of a show. It's just the nostalgia factor is kind of beating it out because it's against We Bare Bears. My Gym Partner Monkey has kind of had an easy ride with it, going up against shows that I am very unfamiliar with. Sorry, Bears, but the monkeys win to this war. Elite 8, let's get into it. Adventure Time, ScoobyDoo, 2 juggernauts in their respective eras. ScoobyDoo's a household name from when it released to today, and I think it released in the 80s, probably the 60s. It could be, I don't know, the hell's good. No, not the 60s. What the hell am I saying? Probably the 80s. Adventure Time, though, I think it has everything. It's got comedy, it's got story, it's got characters, it's got the settings, it's got the aesthetic. ScoobyDoo has a lot of that, but I think ScoobyDoo is also a lot of very hit and miss. It has a lot of iterations. There's different iterations. Some are good, some are bad. You know, there's the good, what's new Scooby-Doo. Then there's the modern day Velma, which is not as good as most. I think Adventure Time has always been consistently good. It's something that, I love Adventure Time, so I think I move it on here. But I shout out Scooby-Doo. It is good. It's just not. It's not Adventure Time good, whatever that means. Teen Titans versus Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, for me, I think it's Powerpuff Girls because I just watched more of it as a kid. I remember, I would stay home sick and Powerpuff Girls would sometimes be on and I'd sit through it. But if Teen Titans came on, I'd turn the channel off. I know Teen Titans, people love it. People say it's one of the best. I just think, Powerpuff Girls to me is more iconic. To me, So Powerpuff Girls, you win the superhero part. Regular show versus Courage. Regular show had a tough battle against ye old Ed, and Eddie. But I don't think this one's going to be that tough for regular show. If regular show beats Ed, Edd n Eddy, I think regular show beats Courage. I'm sorry to say. I know there's very diehard Courage the Cowardly Dog fans out there, but if you've watched regular show and you've enjoyed regular show, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. Regular show is it's just more of my style of comedy, I feel like. And Courage, it's good for what it does, but I'd prefer what regular show does, and that is beat Courage is what regular show does. Chowder versus My Gym Partner's a Monkey. I feel like neither of these should really be in the Elite Eight, personally. I'm gonna give it to Chowder because I just think Chowder is a funnier show. I haven't watched My Gym Partner's a Monkey since growing up. Again, and I said it before, I don't even remember it being that good of a show. It was just nostalgia, and also the theme song's pretty cool. Chowder is a show I watched fairly recently. Like it was on I just turned it on for like a season or two on HBO Max, and I laughed because it's a funny show. So I think Chowder wins the slice of life section. Okay, our final four: Adventure Time, regular show, Powerpuff Girls, and Chowder. Now, if I were making my own bracket and I seeded this, I think Chowder and Powerpuff Girls. No, I'm not gonna spoil it. I don't know how they want me to do it, because it looks like they want me to do Adventure Time and regular show against each other, and then Chowder and Powerpuff Girls against each other, and then they do this, which I think is weird, but that's how the lines go. So that's how I guess I have to do it. I'm gonna start down here, because honestly, this is actually tough. I will say, Powerpuff Girls, Chowder, I don't think either of these really belong in the final four, but going up against each other, it's tough. Because Powerpuff Girls is a classic, but to me, Chowder is also kind of a cult classic. Chowder it has the comedy, it has the art style. Powerpuff Girls has their own art style. I don't know, I think I'd rather watch Chowder, though. Am I really gonna put Chowder in the final two? Who the hell did Chowder beat Camp Lazlo and Clarence? And My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Chowder really had it easy here, but you know what, so did Powerpuff Girls. I think I'm gonna go with Chowder. Powerpuff Girls does have iconic characters, but I'm gonna be honest. Besides Mojo Jojo, I can't remember any of their names. Besides, obviously, the main three. You know, Bubbles, Buttercup, and Blossom. I can barely remember the main three. And then there's Mojo Jojo, but then like all the other villains, I know there's the red evil guy. I don't know his name. Then there's like the amoebas, the germs. I don't remember their names. And there's the mayor of Townsville, and then his baddie of an assistant. But like Chowder, you got Mung, you got Schnitzel, you got Gazpacho, Panini. Friggin'. And I think Chowder, the art style was just so interesting. It was also, I think the comedy was like more of ahead of its time. To be honest, I'd prefer Flapjack in this, where Chowder is. Like if Flapjack and Chowder switched, I know Chowder isn't that much of an adventure show. And I don't know if Flapjack can... I guess Flapjack's slice of life. I still don't know really what slice of life means in terms of this. But like, I think Flapjack, I'd prefer it in this position. But unfortunately, it was up against Adventure Time. Wow. I guess I'm gonna go Chowder, because that's just what my heart's telling me. I think I'd just rather watch Chowder than Powerpuff Girls. So Chowder, you're in the top 2 of Cartoon Network shows somehow. I don't even think you're in my top 10, to be fair. Like, if I were to rank all these shows just numerically, as opposed to bracket, Chowder would be like a mid-level show, but it has somehow snuck its way to the final 2. Now we got regular show versus Adventure Time. These are my 2 favorite Cartoon Network shows. I think it's safe to say we know whatever wins out of this 2 is going to win the whole show. And I know regular show has had a rough go of it. Going up against Ed, Edd n Eddy, Gumball, Courage. Those are 3 banger shows. But Adventure Time, it went up against Flapjack, underrated gem. Doesn't really hold up to a lot of these shows, but it is underrated, it is funny. Billy and Mandy, top 5 for me. ScoobyDoo, it's ScoobyDoo. Like, it's hard to beat Scooby-Doo, and Adventure Time somehow did it. I'm talking like they friggin' that it wasn't me that decided this stuff, and that they actually played each other. But I think that's a bracket. They have to. They're competing, and I have to speak like they're competing. I'm not gonna lie. It's Adventure Time. Adventure Time is it's goated with the sauce, as my 10-year-old cousin may say. I love regular show. If I had to give my top three, it's Adventure Time, regular show, Ed, and Eddie. That's my top three. So I mean, obviously, Adventure Time fucking destroys Chowder here. It is the clear winner of the final two. So there you have it. Here's my bracket. There might have been some upsets, there might not have been, but this is just my opinion. There is shows that I have yet to see, so if you want me to check them out, let me know. I feel like I would have definitely seeded this differently. I feel like that's just how brackets are. Sometimes you get some people have it easy and some people have it a little rougher. Because like let's say I put Ed and Eddie in the bottom left portion. You know, it's not. Let's say it's not super. It's not like they're not segmented based off specific genres. But let's say Ed and Eddie was in the bottom left, and then you put Billy and Mandy in the bottom right. I think that's my final four right there. I think Foster's went out too early. I just think overall it's a pretty basic answer saying Adventure Time is the best Cartoon Network show. I think that's probably the most popular answer. And people may have wanted me to see regular show give the upset. But I think it's very close when it comes to Adventure Time and regular show. When it comes to Adventure Time Chowder, I think Adventure Time literally puts Chowder in a box and kicks it to the freaking moon. But I'm glad they put some of these shows on here, like Camp Lazlo and My Gym Partner's a Monkey, because you never really remember those shows. Yeah, let me know how your bracket turns. Tell me your final two, final four, your winner. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe. If you want to see me do more brackets, let me know like what you would want them to be about. Yeah, and leave a like, subscribe. I think I said that already, but do it again if you haven't. And do it again, and just keep doing it. Keep leaving a like, subscribing. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, because we got those brunch plans. Bye.